Welcome back to The Week in Rock. Ever since he made his debut splash in this country back in 1971 as the illustrator of Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing dispatches in Rolling Stone magazine, Ralph Steadman has remained on the cutting edge of savage comic art. Back home in England recently, Steadman unveiled a show of his latest work, devoted with typical piety to the story of God and his wife. MTV Europe's Chris Salowich and Pip Dan paid Steadman a visit and sent us this report.
Ralph Steadman is a cartoonist whose themes span death and degradation, America the nation, and the world's ecological destruction. Steadman first came to prominence in 60s England as a savage political newspaper cartoonist, going on to become Hunter S. Thompson's crazy, cartoon scribbling sidekick in many of Thompson's Rolling Stones articles. Recently, though, he's turned his sights to higher things. His latest enterprise, The Big I Am, is Steadman's own interpretation of the creation story. But what inspired such a potentially blasphemous project?
It came from a thought I had that if God had a wife before the beginning, what would they be doing? They'd be in a kind of nothingness, a black perfection, sort of purgatorial embrace, as it were. And their only real sin, you might call it their original sin, was to think. They suddenly felt boredom because they thought. If they'd stayed as they were, they'd have been in this black perfection, everything would have been okay, but they didn't. So, they started giving birth to the planets in their millions. But they're all born dead, stillborn planets. And the only one, eventually, to be born alive was the Earth. And she, God's wife, died in childbirth. And in the process of dying and giving birth, she passed it over to God himself, since they were a kind of a oneness. And he felt it himself inside, but it was like feeling sick. So instead of giving birth to it as a normal mother would, he, being man, I suppose, regurgitated it. So Earth was born as a vomit.
Steadman has always courted controversy, but in exhibitions such as this, so soon after the protests from fundamentalist Christian factions against the movie The Last Temptation of Christ, means that he has to tread extra carefully on such hallowed ground. It appears that he shares director Martin Scorsese's opinion that all artistic endeavour is valid and nothing is sacred.
It seemed like a wonderful idea that that Christ could have had a fantastic love affair, just one in his life, some beautiful thing. I mean, what a beautiful story.
Exactly.
And these people standing outside raving, are raving lunatics. Call themselves religious, and therefore they must be compassionate. Are they hell? All they want to do is persecute others. Feel that anything is possible, and anyone's belief is perfectly all right, provided, and I think this is my only proviso, it's not a belief to cause pain to another. That's simply all it is. We all have a right to live here. And here's my lesson for today.